Welcome to Wanaka.
Nandri for having me.
Well, Adil, I think you're 100% recovered with your ACL injury.
Kind of, yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think this happened 3 years ago for you?
Yeah, almost, yeah.
Almost 3 years ago.
Yeah.
What was the cause of your injury? How did you get injured?
So I was playing football one day and I jumped trying to defend a ball and I landed just on my left leg, and my left leg was completely straight when I landed. My knee went out of place and I tore my ACL and it was really painful. I was just on the floor and my face was on the grass and just screaming. And I knew that this was not like any other injury I've had before. This is something serious because you'll know right away because of the pain.
This ACL is more or less like what the footballers get on a regular basis, right?
Yeah. So people who play sports, especially like football or basketball, they get this injury a lot. And I think it's more common in women as well. So it can happen not just while playing football. If there's any sport that you're doing that requires a lot of sudden change of movement and speed, you can tear your ACL if you haven't prepared yourself to have strong legs. And the ACL itself is like a ligament in your knee that connects your tibia bone to your thighs. So it's the main ligament. So once it tears, you don't have any stability in your leg.
Okay. And how long is the recovery process?
So if you're a professional football player and you do your physiotherapy strict and you do everything that you're told, you can be okay by 6 months. But to be safe, it's always 9 months. My doctor, he said, you have to wait until it's 9 months to start playing again or doing anything again, at least 9 months. But it doesn't mean 9 months you're fine. You have to do the physiotherapy and everything that the doctors and the physiotherapists say to be ready in 9 months.
And the surgery.
Yeah, and the surgery.
That's the main part.
Yeah.
Okay. And how was your recovery process? How was your journey in these 9 months?
So once I got the injury, to find out you have an ACL tear, you have to do an MRI. You can't find out in an X-ray or any of that. You have to do an MRI and it'll be clearly shown if it's torn. So there's different kind of tears. If it's not completely torn, you can heal yourself by doing physiotherapy. But if it's completely torn or in the grade 4 or grade 3, one of them, you have to do the surgery. And the surgery is basically they take this string kind of thing from your hamstring and use that. It's like a graft from your hamstring and use that to make a new ligament in your knee, and they screw it. So that's the whole surgery process. They make a hole on your knee, they take out the graft and they fold it, I guess, 3 or 4 times, and they make another hole and insert the graft and screw it.
And this surgery is done, if you got injured today, is it done in the same night as an emergency one, or you go for scans and you see what level of this injury is?
So for when you get injured, right when you tear your ACL, it's extremely painful and it's you can't move. But honestly, after 5 to 10 minutes, the pain just decreases a lot and you can start walking but limping. So it's not like an emergency case where you have to right away get the surgery. You can still walk. The thing is, the next day your knee will be swollen. So it'll be really painful, but you can still limp and walk or use crutches. So it's not an emergency surgery where right away you have to get the surgery. So there is a few things that you have to do before the surgery, which is I think it's called prehab, which is before the surgery you do a bit of physiotherapy to get your knee a bit strong, legs a bit strong. And there's blood tests and all of that. So it takes a while, but you can do it right away if you want.
So were you in some anesthesia, or could you see the process? Could you hear it? Could you feel it? Anything?
So what they do is they don't give you general anesthesia, which is where you're completely unconscious. They give you an option if you want to do that, or there's an anesthesia called spinal anesthesia, which is they put the injection on your spine, and after that you can't feel anything from the waist below. Yeah. So what they do first is it's really painful, the syringe. And there's 2. There's one which is super thick that I guess goes to the bone, which is super painful. So what they do is first they have another syringe to numb the back, and then they put the huge syringe. And then once they put it, such a cool feeling because you instantly, it's there's heat going from your waist all the way to the tip of your toe. So it's like slowly just going down, and you can feel it. You can just feel it become like warm. And after that, you cannot feel anything, which is such a weird feeling because I kept like touching my knee. I kept touching my legs and I couldn't feel anything.
But could you bend your legs, bend your knees or something?
You have no control of your legs. From that minute, you cannot feel anything. You don't have any control. So someone can like literally take a knife and chop off your legs and you won't feel it. And then they were going to give me like anesthetic. Like the doctor said, it's not going to completely make me go unconscious. It's just going to make me a little drowsy. So it's like the mask thing. He put it on, but I couldn't breathe. It was very uncomfortable for me. So they gave me that, but I couldn't breathe. I started like sweating and it was very uncomfortable. So they took it off and they asked me, are you okay with just oxygen? You'll be completely awake. And I'm very excited to I'm very curious to see all of these surgeries, and that kind of like fascinates me. And especially since it's my own leg, I really wanted to see it. And at that time, I was watching this TV show called Good Doctor. This is like a show about like surgeries and blah, blah, blah. So I was very curious to see what happens. So I was like, yeah, I'm completely okay staying awake. So the whole time, the whole surgery, I'm completely awake and I can see and hear everything. So what they do is they drill your knee to make the holes, and you can feel the bed vibrate because your upper body is still fine, but you can't feel anything. And the thinking like, oh, they're drilling my knee, I can't feel it. That's like so fascinating. And they put a camera inside your knee, through one of the holes. And the doctor was like,
they put a camera in your knee.
Yeah. So they make like one of the two holes, they use it for inserting a camera. So that
small is that camera?
Oh, it's super small. Because they have to see what they're doing inside.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Okay, I thought they learn all this.
No, because every body is different, right?
That's true.
So there's a TV in front, and the doctor's looking at the TV and doing thing. And then he looks at me and he's like, do you want to see? Because me and the doctor, we were like, we talked a lot. I had so many questions before the surgery. So he knows I'm very fascinated by all of this. So he looks at me, he's like, Adil, are you awake? I'm like, yeah. Do you want to see the inside? I'm like, yeah, sure, definitely. So he turns what's funny is one of the nurses, he turns the whole TV to my side. And the doctor's like, so is Adil doing the surgery or am I doing the surgery? So he tilts it back, and then it's in a way that I can see it and the doctor can see it. And he's showing me the full inside of my knee, and he shows where he's going to put the graft and all of that. And I'm like, oh, this is so cool.
How did it look inside your knee?
It's just red. It's
just red.
Yeah, red. And yeah. And then there's the ligaments are a bit whitish. So it's like flesh. It's basically flesh. And then there was one point where, so they cover the bottom part of your body because they don't want you to see it directly. But there was one point where the curtain came off and I could see my knee and it's just blood. And I was like, oh, this is so cool. And then I think the whole thing didn't take long, less than an hour, I guess. And they told me they're going to take me to another room. Everything was done. Everything went perfectly. It's like, you're going to go to another room for the anesthetic to wear off. And then they'll take you back to the room. So they took me to another room. It's just me and it's super cold. They gave me a blanket. And I still can't feel anything. I can't feel my lower body at all. So what I did was I just kept hitting my legs and playing with my balls. I could say that, yeah.
So whatever you want to.
I just, so I just hit my legs and I started touching my balls and I can't feel anything, nothing. And that was so cool, my own body. I can see that I'm hitting it, but I can't feel it. And then the nurse comes in, she's like, yeah, it's going to take around 8 hours for it to wear off. So we're going to take you back to the room. I go back to the room, I see my leg is completely wrapped up. And all of this is I know it's a surgery and it was supposed to be but for me it was all very fascinating seeing all of this. And the hospital was good, the doctors are amazing, so there was nothing to really worry about. And till now there's no pain. The only pain that I felt was when they put the syringe on my spine. And before the surgery I kept asking the doctor questions and I did my own research, so I know when to expect pain and what kind of pain to expect. And for me, if I know what I'm going to expect, it's still going to hurt, but it's not going to take me by surprise. I know it's going to hurt and I know what I'm going to expect. So when the anesthetic wears off, is when the pain starts coming slowly. But there was one thing which I didn't know about, which the doctor didn't tell me about, I didn't ask the doctor about, which was I wanted to pee. I wanted to pee, but I cannot pee because I can't feel my lower body. So I can feel my bladder that is full, but it cannot go out. So you're like in bed, you can't move. So they give you like a small bottle to pee in, but it's just not coming out. And my bladder is full. So I was like, okay, this is because the anesthetic is there.
But if it's full, it'll come out automatically. No, it's like you're peeing your pants or peeing on the bed.
No, it doesn't come out like that. You have to, I don't know, I guess push. But it's like, it's completely full, but nothing's coming out. Because I don't have any control over my lower body. So what happened was, I was like, okay, I'm just going to wait for the anesthetic to completely wear off. And then probably I can pee then. But it got to a point where it's too much, where I can't hold it any longer, and it's like my bladder is like completely full. So I had my phone next to me and I just like Googled what's gonna happen if I hold my pee after the spinal anesthesia, is it okay? I didn't want to tell the doctors or the nurses because I know what they're gonna do if they find out.
What would they do?
I'll tell you. So I Googled it to first make sure if it's fine to hold my pee like that. But what they said was, especially after surgery, they said never hold in your pee, because if you hold in your pee and your bladder bursts by chance, you have to do another emergency surgery, which will also be a problem for your knee because you have two things to recover from. So I was like, okay, it's time to tell the nurse, and it's time to, well, see what the nurse is going to do. So I told the nurse. She comes and she's like, Adil, like, try your best, because if it doesn't come, we have to do something else. I tried my best. It didn't come. And guess what is the something else that the nurse was talking about, which I knew she's going to do. I've seen my grandfather. He had to do this as well. So basically what they do is they take a catheter, which is like a tube, and they put it inside your hole, inside your penis. And just thinking about that scared me. Like, I was super scared. I was like, I don't want tube inside my penis. But it came to a point where I have no other option. And at that moment, I was like, it's fine for now because I still have the anesthesia. So I'm not going to feel them put it in. 2 doctors and one who's a trainee. The trainee walks in, the doctor walks in, and it's like 3 people in the room. And I'm like butt naked with my penis outside. And I didn't feel shy because, when it's doctors, you don't mind like being naked in front of them, even if they're strangers.
I don't know about that. Okay, go on.
So then what they do is they just put a tube inside and it connects to your bladder. And from then, you don't have any control of the pee going out as well. It just went out. And so much pee went out that they had to one of the bags got filled and they had to replace it. Like, there was that much urine inside me. So it was good in a way that I told them, skip to the next day. So the next day, so the anesthesia is worn off. That's when the pain starts. And the pain is like hammers getting hit on your knee. That's how you feel. Like, there's people with hammers hitting your knee constantly. And it's extreme pain where even if you move 1 centimeter, it hurts twice. So you can't move. Every time you move, it just hurts in a way that you can't distract yourself. You feel it fully. But it was bad. But I kind of knew that I'm going to feel this pain. I knew that it's going to be better and better. It's going to get better. So I just kept taking it in. And I think it was first time I felt that kind of pain because it's super intense and it's constant. The problem was it was constant. It's not like it comes and goes. It's constantly hurting. And you feel that pain, it doesn't go away and there's nothing you can do to make it better. And then the nurse comes and she's like, there is a pain injection, but I only suggest you to use it if it's extreme pain and you can't hold it any longer. And I don't know, I guess my ego didn't want to say, yeah, do it. My ego was like, I can take this pain. So I just kept taking it and I told no need for the injection. And then the next day was what I was most fearful for, because that was the day that they're going to take the tube out from my penis.
Wait, all this time it's still inside?
Yeah, it's still inside.
And are you feeling something?
Yeah, because when the anesthesia wore off, it was there and I couldn't feel it.
Inside your...
Yeah. It was funny because like my friends came to like see me in the hospital, and none of them know that it's there. So every time they come, I'm like, hey, do you want to see my knee? Because there's a blanket on me, right? I was like, do you want to see my knee? Yeah. They're okay. And then I just take my blanket off. They see this tube on my penis. So that was fun. But should I get more graphic?
Please do.
Yeah. So what happened the next day morning was, when I woke up, I got a boner. And I have the tube inside my penis, and I have a boner, and my mom is in the same room. And so there's like two things, right? One is the knee, and when I have a boner in the tube, I can't like sit still. So every time I move to make it feel better, my knee hurts. So I'm just like constantly like moving and screaming. And my mom comes over. She's like, "What happened? What happened? Let me see." I was like, "No." That was so awkward because I'm like, she's like, "What happened?" I'm like, "No, it's just the knee. It's kind of paining a lot right now." Because how do I tell my mom?
Oh my God.
And then the nurse came to take it out, and she said, so I was like super scared for this. Like the knee pain, I was like okay with. But then I asked the nurse, is it gonna hurt? And she's like straight up, she looks at my face and she's like, it's gonna really hurt. Okay. When they pulled it out, it was like my soul came out of my body. Like I knew it's gonna hurt, so I was like holding myself back from screaming.
But they pulled it out just like that, or
No,
like
slowly, but like not super slow. So when they pulled it out, it was like my soul coming out of my body, and I was screaming. Like, I was holding back from screaming, but I couldn't. I just screamed or screamed, one of them. And then things got like I could go back home. So after the surgery for 1 or 2 days, you'll be in the hospital, and then you go home. The hard part is the day after the surgery, you have to start walking. Like you have to get up and move your leg constantly, because your leg loses muscle. Like they took a graft from your hamstring, so your leg is gonna lose muscle very quick. If it takes 3 months to build up muscle, it can go in a day, especially when you're the completely bed rest. And yeah, so the physiotherapy starts from the very next day. They move your leg. They make you like get up and walk around with like a walker. So that hurts, especially in the beginning. And then you go home, you need people around you. That's when you feel like you're very dependent on whoever's there, your family or your friends. Because even if you have to go to the toilet or if you want to get on bed, especially the first 1 or 2 weeks, you can't do it by yourself. And it really humbles you, because you might think you're like something big, but now you're a person who can't even go to the toilet alone. And sitting down on the toilet is painful because you have to keep your knees straight. And so think about every time you move your leg, it hurts. So you have to continue doing all these things, but it's just painful. Then it starts getting better. You have to keep going to physiotherapy and do these exercises, because now you have to make sure your left leg or the injured leg is back to its normal strength, which takes 9 months. Which is why they say like you need 9 months of like physiotherapy so that your knee is at least 90-95% the same as your right leg. So constant physiotherapy, and you have to eat right and basically stick with whatever plan your physiotherapist tells you to do.
But what was the food like? Was it something a bit extra because of your surgery just to recover it?
The doctor told me to like have protein, a lot of protein to build the muscle. But I'll be honest, I didn't really follow the physiotherapy or the diet properly, which is why I'm not fully recovered even now. Still weak, but I started playing again. I started doing everything normally. The one thing I can't do is I can't bend my leg completely. But hopefully I get back on physio and get better.
But the journey was 9 months.
9 months. For me, it's still going on because I don't consider myself fully recovered.
Okay, yeah.
And it's completely my fault because I didn't do the physiotherapy properly. So right now I would say my left leg is maybe 40% weaker than my right leg.
Okay. So let's just take this 9 months with surgery and physio. Within 9 months, you're perfectly all right. Is there a situation where you opt for not doing the surgery and you recover by yourself with body healing within maybe 2 or 3 years? Is that a possibility?
So it's not a possibility because the ligament is not something that can connect back to itself. Like bones can heal, but ligaments, once it's torn, it's done. It doesn't get connected back, no matter how much rest you do. So you can opt for not doing the surgery if you're not planning to do any sort of sport or any sort of running or any of that. Then you don't have to do the surgery. You can just do the physiotherapy and get better. But if you want to do anything, not even high level, even like amateur football, you have to do the surgery because what happens is now you don't have a important ligament in your bone. When you put more and more pressure, there are other ligaments around it that tears as well. Then your knee caps, like it's just like you get more injured the more stress you put on your knee without surgery.
So basically, the person who doesn't opt for surgery, he or she just has to walk. That's it.
Yeah.
There's no other physical activity, because even I'm assuming sitting down would also be is fine.
Yeah.
But is it possible to sit down on the floor?
Yeah, you can, because
Okay.
it's mainly sports that you can't do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Which involves running.
Running and change of direction, jumping, all of these things. Because like, for example, jumping puts stress on your knees. Sitting down does not put any stress on your knees.
But it does put a stress, yeah, like for a long period of time. For example, if you're using the Western toilet, you are sitting for, depends on the person, but just say for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
For 10 minutes, you're in that L-shaped.
That is not really stress on the knee. Like when you're running, your whole weight is now being on one leg.
Yeah.
That is stress. Or when you jump, there's force on you.
Yeah, the impact is on the knee.
But sitting down is like, there's no impact on the knee. It's just in one position for a long time.
True. It's also the knee, but it's maybe 20% of the knee, and the other parts of the body are also carrying your weight.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you prevent an ACL, let's say, for football? Because you're the best example over here for that.
Yeah. So the main thing that anyone playing any level of football should do is warm up. Because when you warm up, you can prevent a lot of things. Like your body is more prone to injury if you don't warm up and play. So that is one step. The second is preparing your body by going to the gym. If you're playing football, like strengthening your legs.
But even if you go to the gym, you need to warm up.
Definitely, yeah. You have to do like anything that you're exerting your body for, you should always warm up. So especially for ACL specifically, your hamstring should be really strong. Your thighs, your whole leg should be really strong. So there are exercises to like make your legs strong. But also you have to do another sort of exercises, which is not just weightlifting, which is plyometrics, which is like jumping and turning direction, like all of these things, because then you have lesser chances of getting injured. Maybe you could still get injured. Like there are so many football players who do all of these things, but still get injured. But the chances of you getting it is significantly lower.
I wish you a speedy recovery.
Thank you. I hope I do get back to the gym and recover soon.
Yeah. See you back in the football field with full fitness as well.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining me today. Have a lovely day.
Nandri.